Hi there, if you want to learn how to create sound effects, then you are in the right place. In this video, I'll be showing you and breaking down a redesign I did of the video game Plucky Squire. I'll be showing you all the sound sources that I used, the effects, the processing, the plugins, so that you can think like a sound designer, but more importantly, so that you can create like one. All right, so here we are inside of Reaper, and you can see here I have my project. I have the original game up here. I'll just do a quick preview of how I have my project set up here. You can see here I have some of the spider jumps here, spider effects. Down here I have a whole bunch of like sword effects and sword hits and stuff like that. A few extra ones down here for the different sword grabs and things. Some sword swings, and then additional like little items here, and then you have your body rolls, footsteps, and stuff like that. So let's start at the very top here, and let's go with the spider jump sound effects. All right, so the way that I created these is actually just recorded myself in my studio here with a piece of paper. So I just had my a shotgun microphone recording a piece of paper, and I was just trying to perform it and manipulate the paper basically to get these kind of more like transient kind of heavy sounds. So if you play this, I'm just going to turn off these here. But if we play here, like you can see the different kind of sounds I got here. All right, so that's the sounds that I got, and then it was just a matter of like cutting them up and then like lining them up with the animation here with the video. And I don't think I did too much processing, directly on each of these, right? So it was just a bit of volume gain automation, and then I just had this. So I'm going to take these off here. So this is without any bus processing here. And here's what I added. Right, so just removing the low end and then removing any like clickiness or any like quick transients, so it's a bit smoother. Okay, next let's go to the spider death sound effects here. We have that one, and this one is actually the same sound here. It's just a bit louder. For these up here. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm going to take off all of our processing on here. Right, so those are the sounds we have. Right, so the majority of that sound is just this recording right here. And that's literally just me with my mouth making like a squishy sound. And that's it. It's just a recording that I did straight into my DAW here. Right, after that we have this one here. And this was like a creature sound that I had in my library in my steampunk, it's my robotic creatures sound effects. So I had this sound here, and then I just wanted to remove all the noise out of it. And remove all the noise out of it. So I'm just left with tonal content. It sounds like this. There's like nothing there. So actually it's kind of useless, this one here. I don't know why I kept it, but there you go. And then I had this one here. That's just a little snap. It's just a little transient before the kill starts. All right, and then let's go over the bus processing here. So it sounds like this. And that's the spider death. Next, let's go to our sword sounds here. So we have quite a few here. Let's start at the top here. So this is the sword getting stuck in the wall. Sorry, the sword getting released from the wall. All right, so it gets stuck in the wall up here. And then when it comes back to the player here, it gets released. This is the sound here. And I don't think I did any processing on that. Yeah, no processing. This is going to be a sound that's coming up in one of my sound packs that I'm currently working on that should be released pretty soon, but it's another melee weapon pack. So that is that sound there. Let's go to the next one here. This is for the spider kill squish sound. Let's see what this is. I think these are just like the hits. The spider's getting hit with a sword. All right, so I don't think, did I do much processing? I did do some processing on each of these. So let's see what I used and then what I did here. Okay, so for all of these squish sounds that I call them, I actually created all of them in a separate project here. And I use Faceplant to do that, and it's right here. And you can see here I have this mouth gore file, and basically it's just a design file. Actually, I'm pretty sure that this is the exact file that I used in another video that I made where I designed like gore sounds with only using my mouth. So if you want to see that video, I'll have it in the cards above so you can see how I created that. But basically, it's just a design file that I made using sounds from my mouth, and it's pretty long. So then what I could do is I just added a transient, a filter here, and then I had a little LFO here that's being applied to the mix here just so I get a bit more punch right at the beginning of the sound. So now what I can do, right, I can just play through and print out sounds that I like. So let's say I like that. I can grab it here, print it out, then go to the next one. Right, like that one, grab it here, print it out. And that's what I did here. So you can see I just grabbed a lot of different ones here. And oh yeah, the only other plugin I used here is Crafter here, just a soft clipper. And that's it. So then I just printed all of these out once I had them, and then I just brought them into here, put them on their own separate tracks, and that's it. So that's how I created these sounds. Yeah, after that, it's just a matter of lining them up where I wanted them. And then I think I did a bit more processing on each of these. So if I take everything off, they sound like this. And the idea behind me processing these a little bit more is that I wanted to have a bit more punch on some of these, and then also just control some of the high end and the low end. So that's what the EQ is for. So if we look at this one here. And then for the bus processing here, we have recenter. And just a slight little curve off the top here just to control the highs, so they're not too bright. And that's pretty much it. So that's how these were made. I have more of them here, but I think you're going to see it's a very, very similar kind of process here. All right, so if I take this off here. There you go, and I had even more down here again, but again, it's the same idea here, similar processing here. I think I just have a EQ here to control the highs again. That's it. All right, the last part of all of these hits here is that I wanted to have some sort of like thump, and I ended up using like some sort of kick sample or something in here. And if I look, yeah, it's just a sample from my Explosion sound pack. And so it sounds like, well, let's take that off. I guess it sounds like this. Right, so it's just like a little kick or like a snap of the explosion. And then I just added a transient here to really control the tail, so I'm really dropping down the sustain. So it's just I just really want a quick snap. That's it, and that's what I did for each of these here. So that's what I layered with. So with all of these like squishy sounds, I added all these kick sounds, and they're all the same. Probably could have or should have added variation to them, but I didn't. But that's it. So this is what they sound like alone. Right, very machine gun-like, not very professional of me, but yeah, I was doing this relatively quickly, but yeah. So, but together it sounds okay. I don't think you really hear too much. So, here. But there you go. So those are all of the like sword hits and the all the spider sword hits. Okay, next let's go to the sword catch. So when the player catches back the sword after it comes back to him, sounds like this. Nothing too crazy or special here. This was just a wood impact from my Magic Sound Pack #2. And let's see the processing I did on this. Right, that's it for this one and the second one as well. Same thing. All right, next we had the weapon throw. So this is just the throwing of the weapon, not the actual spinning in the air. Something like this. And this must have just been, yeah, to swing, a weapon swing that I brought down the play rate by half, and that's it. Next, let's go to the weapon getting stuck in the wall here. Sounds like this here. All right, so I have two different sounds here. Let's get a bit of variation going. So let's have a look at this first one. It's a wood impact. I think this is also from my Magic sound pack or from my Explosion sound pack. Sounds like this. Right, so the R bass and then the low air here are just adding a lot of low end weight to that sound, which just makes it sound a little bit, I think, satisfying. Right, and next we have this sound here. This is from my Explosion pack, another wood sample here. I just have uber loud on it, directly on it, and then I have these here. So that's it for that wood sample one. Next we have the weapon swinging in the air. Sounds like this. All right, so let's take off the effects here to see how I created that. So this is a sound that I recorded. It's just swinging back and forth a little like plastic rod in front of the microphone, like just really fast back and forth. And I got this long sound file. So like if I take this sound here, this is the recording of it here. Like you can see it's just a really long sound file. And then I can just chop it up to use what I wanted. Yeah, you can see here, I did this twice. So what I did here is I started off loud and then I bring down the volume and then I bring up the volume again. So the way I had this done is I just had like, let's say this here, I cut off the beginning and the end, I bring down this middle section here like that, and then I just crossfaded over like that. Right, so then you have a natural like decrease in volume to be a bit lower here in the middle, and then it goes back to the regular volume. So that's how I created this kind of gesture here. Right, because I didn't want too much volume in the middle for when the weapon is flying in the air, because that's when you get all the squish sounds and hit sounds and stuff like that. So I didn't want that to be in the way. All right, but let's hear the processing that I did on this here. Right, so that's it. It's just a matter of using the frequency shifter to shift it up a bit, and then I was getting that resonant tone, and it's just a matter of trying to get rid of it with some EQ. All right, next we have some single sword swings. Okay, and this is taken from a sound pack that is coming out soon, another melee weapons pack that I'm working on, and I got these nice swing sounds in there. And yeah, there's not too much processing happening here for each of these. It's just a matter of using an EQ here to control the highs and then just recenter to position the swing where I want it in the stereo field, either mono right in the middle or a bit right or left. I think probably all relatively mono. Yeah. All right, next we have our barrel break here. So I'm just going to take off all of our processing on here. Okay, so this is what it sounded like together without anything. Right, so here I have two different like wood impacts that I just layered together. Okay, so for this first one here, I brought in our bass. Okay, let's skip over the ambience for now. Let's go to our health bar. So this is towards the end here. Let's have a listen to this one here. So when the player tries to grab the heart, but the player already has full health, so it's not picking it up. So these are the sounds that I created for it. And the way that I created that was actually inside of Faceplant. So let me show you the patch here inside of Faceplant. It's a really simple patch, just a sine wave, but I am modulating it a little bit here. So the first one is, they're both using a saw wave, obviously, LFO. The first one here is being assigned to the frequency shifter here. So that's what's creating that kind of wobble sound. And then the second one here is being assigned to the pitch. So the pitch is going and wobbling down, right? So you have Alpha 1, which is faster wobbling the frequency shifter, and then the second one here, slower wobbling the pitch. right? That's how I got that sound. I printed out a few different versions of that here, and now let me take off everything so we can hear it without, and then I'll put everything back on here. And there you go. And both of these have the same processing. So that's how I got that sound effect there. Okay, next we have our body rolls and footsteps. So these were actually recordings that I had made quite a while back, actually. I don't remember which sound pack they're from, but here we go. Okay, so those are just the footsteps, and I don't think I did too much processing other than adding a bit of a transient shaper on this one here because I want it to be a bit more, have a bit more attack, and then an EQ on everything to cut some of the highs. So if I take this off, you'll notice it's a little bit bright. Right, there's a lot of that top end in there that I just didn't want, so this helps. Right, it's a little subtle, but it does make a difference. And that's basically it. I think here I used 2 samples per footstep, so they work together. So this is like the first one here with this. Right, so you have one that's a bit more higher frequency, one that's a bit more lower. You put them together, you get this. Right, so that was it, and then it's just a matter of copying and pasting them around. So those are the footsteps. Next, we have the body rolls, and these are pretty fun. So this is also some sound effects that are coming out in my in an upcoming sound pack that I'm working on. But let's have a listen to these on their own here. All right, so I do have body roll sounds, and then what I did is I added a lot of low-end weight to them. So if I show you, let's do this one here, so just so you can see what it sounds like before and after. Right, so using R bass, using low air, and then using an EQ just to top off that high end, and that helps it to remain a bit more mid-centric in terms of frequency. And I did the same thing for these here, so you can see the same thing, low air, R bass, and then an EQ, again, to control the highs. Same thing here, low bass to add more weight. All right, so if you have good speakers, you'll notice that that is really helping to make it sound really big and heavy. Right, and so with all these rolls, that was like the weighted portion of it. And then I also layered them here with some grass. Sounds like this. These are the same samples that I had for the footsteps, but I layered them with the rolls. And then I think I just added, yep. So for these, I just added a bit of EQ again, just to roll off the top end, and uber loud here, just to beef them up a little bit. So if we take this off. All right, so those are the body rolls. That's how I created those. Okay, next we have our power-ups here. There's a few of these sounds, so let's have a look here. All right, so this is like picking up the light bulb. So I think these two down here, the idea was that they'd be like the light bulb pickup. And I think I created these inside of Faceplant here, so let me show you that. All right, so inside of Faceplant here, I had a sampling sound design file, which is just a long file that's designed, that I had designed from before. I just scanned through it and then picked a part of the sound that I liked, added some tail with a dual delay and reverb. You can see the mix here is really low on the dual delay. I don't really want to hear the delay. I want it to be more felt than heard, and just adding a tail to the sound. And then the reverb is what is a bit more, because I wanted to carry the tail. Right, that's how I created these sounds. And you can see here the way that I made this this file here is using like casual game sound effects and ultra loop. So I just grabbed a whole bunch of like casual game sound effects that I had that I created, put them into ultra loop, and then I just generated this long file, and that's how I created this. right? So that's how I created or generated this sound here. And then it was just a matter of putting recenter on it. It was pretty good just as is, I thought. And then same thing with these here. There's a different part of the file. Actually, I think these were a different sound. Yeah, so these are actually a different one. So these are some of my bell ambiances. If you want to see how I created these, I made a video about it, so I'll have it in the cards above if you want to check it out. But yeah, these are just like little quick bell ambiances that I had. Sounds like this. Right, same thing here. Adding dual delay, low mix, and then reverb, a bit more mix. And yeah, I'm just playing it high on my keyboard, so faster play rate. Just export them out, add recenter onto them to place them where I want them, to add the width that I want, and that's it. All right, last but not least, here we have our ambience, and this is from my Fantasy Ambience pack. It's just like a swamp day ambience. Let's take off the EQ that we have on here. I'm just going to take that off. This is what it sounds like. Right, so you got your frogs, you got some birds chirping, you got a bit of wind and wind rustling. So I just brought down the volume because this is more to be kind of felt in between the different player movements and the different parts of the game. So I didn't want this to stand out too much, right? So that's why that's there. And then it's just a matter of adding some EQ. So you have your before. Right, so just like making sure there's no bass in there. It's not really important, and the bass is really going to be carried by the other sounds that I have. And then again, the high, I don't want it to be too felt or too present. Again, same thing. They're going to be more making room for the other sounds like the sword hits and the squish sounds and the spider sounds and stuff like that in the redesign. So that's why I made it that way. All right, so those are all the sounds. Let's have a listen one more time. Everything together. Here we go. All right, so I hope you found that useful and valuable in seeing my process, my design, my layers, and everything. If there's any sound that you liked in here, make sure to check out my store where I sell my sound effects that I've created, and you'll find a lot of the stuff that I used in here. You'll find everything there. So check that out. I'll have a link in the description if you're interested in picking any of these sound effects up. And I think that's it for now. If you have any comments, questions, leave it down below. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. I'll see you in the next video.